All right, today we got the New Orleans Saints. We're continuing work our way through the NFC South. For those of you that are new here, welcome in. Each day over the summer, we like to cover one of these NFL teams, and right now we're going through the NFL or the NFC South. We did the Bucks yesterday. Now we're working on the Saints today. What we do is we recap last season, see how their season ended up, and we look at the offseason transactions, major news, NFL draft picks. Any salary cap related issues. Maybe they've got some holdouts, just whatever's going on with the Saints in the offseason, just a little refresher. Because sometimes, like me, there's so much stuff that happens back in March and April, and then you get through summer and you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot that guy went here. That coach is here now. So we just like to do a little refresher. Then we'll preview the upcoming 2024 season, take a look at their schedule, and then we'll hit the betting market and see, hey, what does the betting market expect from this team? Do we agree with it? Do we disagree? Are there little gems, maybe a little some bets that we like that we need to place now that we think might move over the course of the season? All that and more. Plus, we interact with the chat, and whatever the chat wants to do, we will answer all your questions. So drop them in the chat as well. Cricket, the New Orleans Saints. A lot of people were high on this Saints team. You had Derek Carr coming over there for the first season. Their head coach is a bum. A lot of people fell for betting them. I don't know anyone. I don't know why people were so high on them.
Yeah.
Had I changed all my Saints picks, so I finished fifth. No, I finished seventh last year, tied in seventh in the Super Contest over on Bet Online. Over 10,000 people entered. I finished seventh. I would have won that thing had I just faded every single time I picked the Saints. I think I won once all seasons long with the Saints. They always let me down. They would never cover the spread.
I think the one you won too is just because you were stubborn.
Yeah, and then the time I went against them, they actually covered that time. I went against them one time, and I'm like, I just gotta quit this team. I can't do it. The Saints, because on paper they should have had a way better season than they did. I mean, hell, they started the season off 2-0, but even then they didn't cover those games.
No, they did not.
They did not. But yeah, disappointing season, I'd say, for the Saints. They ended up 9-8, tied in first place, but Tampa Bay had the tiebreaker, so Saints did not make the playoffs, which is kind of the worst spot you want to be as an NFL team. That 500, terrible draft pick, don't make the playoffs, so you don't even get to like hang your hat on. Hey, at least we were, in a home playoff game or just in a playoff game, right? Maybe have a chance. And then when you get in the playoffs, all bets are off. It doesn't matter how bad your season was.
Right.
You could sneak a win out here or there, or make a little run. But what'd you think about the Saints last year? My opinion was disappointing. Disappointing as if you're a Saints fan and a sports bettor that took the Saints.
Yeah, absolutely. Both those spots would be pretty rough for you there. I mean, it was disappointing, but it wasn't a big surprise for me. Everybody was so high on Derek Carr coming in, and I'm sorry, I just haven't really ever thought that guy was elite quarterback. I think he's middle of the road. I think he is a starter in the NFL. He's definitely good enough to do that. But I mean, I can almost always find me 14 or 15 quarterbacks that I consider better than this guy as a starter in the league. So I mean, I wasn't very high on him coming in. So I mean, I figured they finished about where I expected them to. But in a bad division like that, I mean, the NFC South is not a good division, y'all. And, I would expect I feel like they made a lot more moves and a lot more noise in the offseason than the other teams in the division. And so you expected them to be kind of the clear favorite going into that thing. And then they dropped the one early to Tampa Bay at home in that one, which we always play bad in New Orleans. I feel like I was highly against us that week. We went out there and smacked them in the mouth in that spot. So, I mean, just games. There was a few games there that they just had no business dropping. That game up at Minnesota wasn't a great loss there. I think they caught the Jaguars. I think they kind of helped the Jaguars get back on track there. They were having some struggles in that spot.
I think wasn't that the one where they let the Jags come back? I think they got up early in that one.
I think so, man. And that was the one where it might have been, I don't know. That might have been around the time the Jags went to London. They kind of turned it around. Trevor Lawrence started playing better. But either way, the Saints it was just kind of like you said, it's the worst possible outcome because you don't make the playoffs. Yet you get too many wins to where you're shuffled down the draft board. You can't really pick up any key pieces there. We'll get to their draft in a minute. But overall, obviously, like I said, just a disappointment. But I think, honestly, I feel like you're going to have to expect a lot more of the same this season.
One thing I will push back on with that, and that could be a positive from the end of the season. They did have, new quarterbacks, some new pieces, trying to figure things out there. After the bye week, I don't want to say it got better, but they played better. They had 2 losses. They had a loss against Atlanta, a loss against Detroit, but they played a lot better. And then they ended the season, the last 5 games, to even give themselves a chance to win the division. They won 4 of the last 5 games. And granted, you're playing Carolina, New York, you beat Tampa. That was a good one. And you beat Atlanta, but I'm pretty sure I don't know what Atlanta was doing at that point of the season. You put up 48. Like, you needed to win this game. This is where it's promising. Even if Atlanta wasn't at full strength, you needed to win this game to have a chance at beating Tampa and get claiming the division. And you went out and hung up 48. Like, you did your job,
Yeah.
So you got to be a little bit excited if you're a Saints fan that maybe they started figuring something out.
Because the division was wide open. Because the Saints, that win right there, I'm pretty sure it was like if the Bucks, because the Bucks played the Panthers at the we only won that game like 9-6 or something stupid. And if like the Bucks lost, I'm pretty sure it was the winner of this game between the Falcons and the Saints that was going to win the division. So there was everything to play for there.
Yeah. It was the Tampa Bay basically had to win one of the last 2 games of the season, and they happened to do it the last week.
Right, and it was ugly against a bad team.
Yeah. But as we saw yesterday, they made up for it after.
Absolutely.
After
that's what they're just saving it. They're just saving it for Jalen Hurts and company.
Yeah. Mr. KC says they just shot themselves in the foot for the draft. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, what are they picking at, like 22 or something like that? Or you're like 21, 22, somewhere around there if you're finishing 9-8?
Just probably between 15 and 20 usually.
Yeah, you're the last pick before the playoff teams start getting their picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a bad spot to be in, man.
But yeah, so they if you're a Saints fan, I feel like you're terrible season, but maybe you're optimistic with how it ended. If they can roll it over to the next season.
They added some pieces there in free agency we're about to get into. Good morning, Mr. Krabby D.
Mr. Krabby.
Is that Krabby D? Or I just got it pulled
No, that's not Krabby D. Mr. It says Mr. KC. I don't think that's Krabby D.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I just I got like my chats like half blocked off. All I can see is MRK here. I just assumed it was Krabby D. Okay, Mr. KC, my bad, man. My bad. Welcome in here, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Some respect on his name.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad. Like I said, I got to be better. My fault.
I got to be better. Okay. So let's get into some of those transactions this offseason. I feel like they didn't do anything, but I was looking at their roster yesterday and I was like, what is going on here? Let's see. So they adjusted Cameron Jordan's contract to help them save some salary cap space. I think they were in some salary cap trouble. They signed Tyrann Mathieu to a 2-year contract extension, so he's in there. They signed Nathan Peterman to the roster. Look at that.
Nathan Peterman, big signing, man.
One of the guys that they did get, one of the bigger name guys that they got, they snagged Chase Young from the 49ers. Remember Chase Young was traded over to the Niners last year. And then
that's what I'll say. That was the big one for me. Is that guy coming in? I'm just anxious to see. I mean, we've seen this guy have problems in both his previous stops here. Some in locker room issues. There was rumblings about that out in San Francisco. So maybe this will be the spot where he can finally get it all together.
Yeah, maybe. James Hurst, offensive tackle, retired. I don't think they did much.
Brought over Cedric Wilson Jr., wide receiver from the Dolphins. I mean, not a big splash move, but a guy there that's kind of, can be a possession type receiver. Yeah. We've seen some big games out of him in his career, but he doesn't string together very often. Picked up Willie Gay Jr. Over from the Chiefs there.
Dolphins, big splash.
I didn't even mean to. Love that. But yeah, like I said, Michael Thomas still in the sign. What's going on with him?
I don't know. Do I feel like that dude just needs to retire?
Or he does need to retire, dude.
God, that guy hasn't done anything in the league forever. Not much in the transaction market here.
Got Amon-Ra's brother, brought him over from the Bears. Aquanimius St. Brown.
Aquaman?
Aquanimius, something like that. I'm telling you, his parents must be a trip, bro. Just because of what they name their kids, they must be interesting people.
Yeah. Well, hey, actually, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe did they end up trading up?
We talking draft?
Yeah, we're gonna go to their draft now. The Saints draft. They ended up drafting 14. Did they trade up?
I mean, that should be right around where.
No, if you're 9-8, you're at like 20.
Maybe they had something from the Derek Carr trade or something.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, so for their draft, 14th overall, let me try this. Talise Waga, offensive tackle out of Oregon State. This guy, I'll tell you one thing that I do know about Oregon State, having seen them live last year, is those guys could run the ball. And the reason why they could run the ball is because they had a bunch of big boys that were able to push people around.
I like Fuaga, man. I do. He's a big guy, 6'6", 324 here. Outstanding run blocker. Big, real big, strong guy. Just moves cats out the way. You talked about Oregon State having Damian Martinez, who was down with the Miami Hurricanes this year. But, yeah, he got to run behind these guys all last year, man. And he's a very similar player to Darnell Wright, the player for the Bears that came out of Tennessee. There, it's a big-time player for them. Very, very similar play styles with these guys. I think Fuaga is going to be a good player. I do not hate this pick right here at all by the Saints.
No. I think I'm always happy when a team goes with the big boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it just seems to be more times than not when you take a chance on those guys in the first round, we see a lot more of those offensive linemen pan out than we do some of the skill guys.
Yep. Let's see. The reports on him, he's really nimble, big human, and he's a bully. Well, all right.
Oh, he'll fit in real good in that Giants line scrimmage, man. He'll fight you, hit you in the mouth.
Heck yeah. Look at that guy. He ain't
That's what I'm saying. That does not look like the guy you want to just grab a hold of.
Yeah. All right. In round 2, it looks like they traded at some point. Maybe not. Maybe they got this a year before. Maybe they traded during the draft. I don't remember. But they got the 41 overall pick, round 2 from the Giants through the Green Bay Packers. Okay.
The Jets.
They drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback out of Alabama.
That's Kool-Aid.
It's got to be good if he changed his name to Kool-Aid.
That's what. Apparently, they've been calling him this since he was a child, and then he came. His timing was right, coming in NIL stuff and everything. They're like, I could believe when I first saw it, I was like, I can't believe Nick Saban even let this go, let one of his players go by Kool-Aid there. But this guy, pretty inconsistent tape from 2023. I mean, he's just up and down type season. Alabama's trying to figure some things out there, but he's a pretty fundamentally sound guy. I mean, he started 33 games at Alabama, which is a feat in its own right. Got pretty good length there, 6 foot, 199, runs well, and can lock up with some of those receivers in the slot if he needs to. So it just, I like Kool-Aid, but I'm anxious to see what kind of player he's going to transition into.
Yeah. And those Alabama quarterbacks, man, they always go in the top.
And they move him around some. Like I say, I know he's a cornerback, but I'm saying they can move him inside to match up with some of those slots. And, I mean, I don't think you're really going to see him in on the tight end unless there's some crazy formation there. But he's a guy that can compete in one-on-one coverages there and got good size, so can match up with some of those bigger receivers.
This is why I like doing these recaps and doing these shows, covering these teams. I didn't realize this. I don't even know if I realized it at the time. The Saints only had not only did they not really do anything in free agency, I think because they were cap strung and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They only had a first round and a second round pick, and then they don't have one until the 5th round here.
Yep.
And then they take their quarterback of the future, the Rattler, Spencer Rattler out of South Carolina. I like that gamble. I like it.
I think that at this point in time, if you don't have an immediate need, this is the guy you could take a chance on right here. I mean, he was the number 1 ranked quarterback coming out of high school when he went to Oklahoma. Then Caleb Williams came in, wound up taking the job from him. He transferred to South Carolina. He lit my damn balls up. Not last year, but the year before when we played down in South Carolina. He threw, I think, 6 touchdown passes in that game. Boy, they lit us up. That was our worst game of the season. He played well, probably his best game of his college career there. But, I mean, it's in there. He's got all the different little pieces, so it's in there. But I don't hate this gamble right here. Worth a shot anyway.
Yeah, in the 5th round, why not? Then you got, oh, man. What a cool name. Bub Means.
Bub Means. I love that. Yes.
What a Bub. Bub Means, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh. All right.
He's a big play threat. He averaged 16.5 yards per catch over the past 2 seasons. Gets off the ball well and then can get down the field vertically. And at 6'1", 212, got good size to go up over some of those cornerbacks and safeties down the field. So I don't hate this gamble either.
And then another 5th round pick. Man, they didn't have any top picks, but they have a lot in these later rounds. They got Jalen Ford out of linebacker out of Texas.
Yeah, he's got good depth. Reading quarterbacks and coverage there. He tied 4-time Pro Bowler Derek Johnson Texas season record for interceptions made by a linebacker with 4 in 2022. So a guy that really gets mixed into some different coverages, got good athleticism there, and can match up with those bigger tight ends and stuff. So once again, another gamble, but a guy that's played a lot of big time football.
Round 6, in a trade, they took defensive tackle Christian Boyd out of Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about this guy. He got good size.
Listen, when I see people like this, when you're out of like Northern Iowa, but these teams are reaching for you,
Yeah.
obviously, if this is in the later rounds, then he must be really good. In the early rounds, he must be really good. But even here in the 6th round, he must be good enough to catch their eye to take a gamble.
There's something. Yeah, this guy actually didn't. He didn't get an invite to the combine. Man, he should have. I think that's what hurt him and why he probably fell some. I think this might be a good gamble here. But yeah, it was kind of a snub there in that combine. Probably deserved to be there and didn't get a chance to go showcase and all that stuff. So that's probably why he fell some. But this guy probably would have been closer to a early 5th, maybe late 4th round pick had he got to go show off his talent, because a big guy that does move well.
I like this. He says he prides himself on stopping the run. Just the dirty stuff. He doesn't care about the stats. He's like, I'm in there. I want to hit people and I want to do my job. But he also had 6.5 tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks at Northern Iowa last season. But that part where he says he prides himself on stopping the run, you got to love that mentality.
That's what you want, man. That's what you want out of your interior defensive lineman. A guy that's ready to hit you in the mouth.
The 7th round pick, they took Josiah
Ezerim,
offensive tackle out of Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, once again, don't know a lot about this guy here. Probably just a gamble. Another big guy, 6'6", 329. So added some big pieces to this offensive line throughout the draft here. But once again, don't know a lot about him.
Yeah, I think for what they had to work with, I think pretty decent draft. You ended up getting, big boy, very important pick here, 1st round, and then a cornerback out of Alabama. So, nothing too terrible there.
Nothing too terrible. They definitely addressed some of their needs. I would like to see them try to take a guard in this thing, but some of their key needs were offensive tackle, defensive tackle, quarterback, and wide receiver, and they did address all of those needs in this draft here. Now, how good will those guys be at those spots is still yet to be seen, but they at least went after what they needed.
One thing that you'll see on our show that you won't see on a lot of other people's show is we like to talk about the salary cap a lot because it explains a lot. So the Saints heading into this offseason were $42 million over the cap. So they had to make a lot of cuts and make a lot of adjustments. They've been dealing with this for the last couple of years because they kind of shot themselves in the foot a few years ago by, pushing things down the road, and now they have to pay the piper. And so they were 42 over the cap, and it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. I mean, for example, what we saw with the Bills and the Dolphins had like 28 million in dead cap for this season, whereas the Bills had 58 million in dead cap. That extra 30 million it comes up very important when you're talking about depth. How many guys we see on the Dolphins that signed for $2 or $3 million? Like they were able to fill certain spots, key spots with just depth. So that way, if you have an injury, you're not shit out of luck,
Yeah.
But here are some of their big cap hits this season. Kamara is still their big hit, 18.5. Marshawn Lattimore, and then Cameron Jordan. Derek Carr isn't even a big cap hit. Look at that. That's crazy. The Taysom Hill contract was just stupid. He's 4th on the depth chart right now for quarterback. I know he's not really their quarterback, but that's just crazy. They give him all that money, and
I just don't feel like if I'm going to give him all that money, I'd be using him a lot more.
Yeah, they didn't hardly even use him last season.
They never really used him much. He has those great games, but even the games he'll score like 2 touchdowns. He had like 4. He touched the ball 4 times or something.
I want to see this. I want to see what they got in dead cap because this is what's so dead money. They've got 13 million to Andrus Peat.
Yep.
11 million to Michael Thomas.
Marcus
3.3. So it actually isn't that bad. They actually don't have that much dead cap. I'm kind of surprised on that.
Could be worth. Look at what's that on the bottom? Who's that on the bottom? Malik Flowers.
Oh, I guess they do have 41.5 million. They're 10th in dead cap. That is kind of a lot.
Hold on. Go back to the bottom of that dead cap. Go down. Does that say $667 is all he's worth against the cap?
Yep.
I'd just give him that guy. I wouldn't even count him.
They've paid him that money, and it has to go. Like I said, every dollar that you give a player has to go on the books at some point. So that's why you see that.
There it is. Found it.
Okay. Well, let's get into this upcoming season then, huh?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's get into this upcoming season for this. What is that? Damn ads. Okay. We gotta play guess the lines. Exactly 2 is what you're going with?
Exactly 2.
All right. All right. Let's see what happens. So this is the Saints upcoming season. They get it open it up in division home against Carolina. I'm gonna say the Saints. There you go. God, this one's tough. I'm gonna miss this by the hook. I know it, so I'm gonna play it safe and say Saints -3.
Saints -5 at home against the Panthers.
Jesus. Okay. Carolina's bad, right? Carolina's bad, but then we've seen some of these lines get tight. But then again, I forgot we're so close to week 1 that some of these lines might be moving. I bet it opened 3.5, and it's just been people have been betting. Who wants to bet on this Carolina Panthers week 1, right? I'm sure all the money's come in on the Saints so far. So okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then they get to go at Dallas week 2. I'm gonna say Dallas is a 7-point favorite.
Saints +6 at the Cowboys.
I would have got it lost it by the hook because I was going to say 6.5 if I didn't say 7. Okay.
Yep.
Home against Philly. Philly is going to be a 4.5-point favorite.
Saints +3 at home against the Eagles.
God, I am way higher on the Eagles than everyone else is. It's like they forget that they started the season off 10-1 last year.
Right. That backstretch is pretty rough, though.
Then they got to go to Atlanta. I'm going to say Atlanta is -2.5-point favorites.
Saints +3.5 at the Falcons.
They're showing Atlanta way too much love.
I agree.
This preseason.
We would know that if we would have done the Falcons Day like we were supposed to.
Well, now I know it for tomorrow.
Got him.
Watch me forget. Then they got Monday Night Football against the Chiefs. I'm going to say Kansas City is a 6.5-point favorite.
Chiefs +8 at the Chiefs. Excuse me, Saints +8 at the Chiefs. There we go.
So the Chiefs are -8, but the Cowboys are -6. That doesn't seem right. I guess it is Monday Night Football, but that's still
I mean, I don't know. It feels kind of. I mean, I expect the Chiefs to be better than the Cowboys.
I don't. Or at least
I'm just simply going off the fact they're back-to-back Super Bowl champs, and the Cowboys haven't won one since you were in diapers.
Fair enough.
Just saying.
Then they're home against Tampa Bay. They usually play Tampa tough. This line's going to be it's going to be a weird one. I think I'm going to agree with that, but I bet it's like Saints -3.
-1.5. Saints -1.5 at home against the Bucks. We always play bad there, man. We didn't last year.
I know, that's why I thought they were going to factor that in.
Yeah, we did. We played well there last year, so I think I might fade us again this year up there.
And then Thursday Night Football, after a big division game, they're going to be home against Denver. I'm going to say Saints -3.5.
There you go. Saints -3.5 at home against the Broncos.
Ding, ding, ding. Winner. Then they got to go out to LA. I'm going to say the Chargers are 2.5-point favorites.
Saints +3 at the Chargers.
Okay. Then they got to go out to Carolina. I'm going to say Saints -2.
Saints -1 at the Panthers.
Okay.
Little what? 4? That's another one of those about 4-point moves. They're -5 at home. It does seem the division games are about 4 to 4.5 points for the most part in division.
Yeah, but what kept me off of 1 was that we were going through the key number 3, so I was like, yeah, probably, yeah.
Right, that is a weird spot right there, but it does seem to be more common than not that's what about what it's moving home and away in division.
And then they're home against Atlanta. Saints 1-point favorite.
Saints 1-point dogs.
Ooh, so that didn't move 4.
That one didn't move. It moved 2.5, I think.
Yeah, wasn't it 3.5? Right?
I think so. I think that everybody is way too high on the Falcons. They're sitting here acting like Kirk Cousins' Achilles is just magically healed and there's going to be any problems at all. And on top of that, hey, when he had a great Achilles, still had his struggles.
Yeah. And home, they had a late bye week this year. Home against Cleveland. Cleveland 4.5-point favorites.
I think I want to bet this now. Saints +2 at home against the Browns.
Yeah.
Get it under a field goal?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good bet. Then they have their bye week, and then home against the Rams. I'm going to say the Rams are 1-point favorites.
Saints +1.5 at home against the Rams. So all over it, sir.
That was a dirty one. That was a tough one to get. And I was the hook, man.
You were right there on it though, man.
God. That's probably my most impressive pick out of all of these, and I got it wrong.
Fair.
Let's see. And we got the so then they gotta go out to the Giants. I'll say the Giants are I'm gonna say Giants are 1-point favorites.
I kind of want to bet this one now too. Saints -1 at the Giants.
So 1-point dogs for the Giants. Okay, got those flip-flopped. That is interesting. Very, very interesting.
That's what I'm saying. That one feels kind of weird to me. I think I want to bet the Giants money line now.
And they're home against the Commandos. This is hard because Commanders so much I know. Saints -3.5.
Saints -3 at home against the Commanders. Hooked them again.
Of course. Out to Green Bay. Green Bay are going to be 3-point favorites against the Saints.
Saints +5 at the Packers.
A lot of love for the Packers this season.
Mm-hmm.
Home against Vegas. Saints 2-point favorites.
Saints -2.5 at home against the Raiders.
I love that hook. And then week 18 at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 3-point favorites.
Godly, I thought you were going to get me on my exacta. Saints +2.5 at the Bucks.
I lost by the hook. You should have known. Should have known,
man.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. So I only got one right there, but that's their season. I don't know if I agree with some of those lines, but we'll see.
Yeah,
not too difficult of a schedule though for them. I mean, they got some. They end up being a half decent. They might be a tough out for some of these teams.
Let's walk it down through there and see what we think maybe a record looks like for the Saints. I think you win week 1, probably drop the next 2.
Yep.
I could totally see them beating the Falcons at Atlanta.
I would say they probably split with Atlanta. It's probably just the safe way to do it.
So they could very well be 1-4 after week 5.
Yeah.
You got Tampa Bay coming in. I'm going to say they win. Well, let's just say they get through that first 5, 2-3 there.
Okay.
And then I think they beat Tampa Bay in the first one, 3-3. Probably get Denver, lose to LA. So at 4-4 there, I think they sweep Carolina. I think Carolina's garbage. So 5-4, probably win Atlanta 6-4, lose to Cleveland 6-5. Could beat the Rams at home there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say we'll give them that one 7-5, 8-5. Then probably 9-5. It could be a 10-win season for the Saints just based off the schedule.
Yeah, if everything goes their way, then have an upset here or there and handle business.
Probably more. This division is going to do much like it did last year. Will it's probably going to be, 9-8 is probably going to win it. You get to 10-7, I feel pretty confident that you are the division winner in this division this year. I don't see anybody in this division getting to 11 wins.
Well, the Saints are the third favorite at +325. I said it yesterday. I say it today. Best bet you can make is bet Tampa, put a unit on Tampa and a unit on the Saints. You're just fading that the Falcons aren't gonna win this division. I don't think the Falcons should be favored.
You shouldn't have to lay money to bet it.
No.
Like it's not like they've been just dominant in this division for years and years. It's been Tampa Bay's division for the last 3 or 4 years, man. And on top of it, I know you brought Kirk Cousins in. I know you got some young studs there, but there's a lot of question marks in that thing too. You got a new coaching regime coming in. That's Lovie Smith, right? They got the head coaching job for them?
No, the Falcons. It was the guy from San Francisco. Let's see.
Yeah, find that out for me. I thought.
Oh wait, are you saying Saints or are you saying Falcons?
Oh, I'm talking Falcons.
Oh, let me see. Falcons head coach is Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris. Okay, Raheem Morris. Yeah, I knew it was one of my guys from down there in Tampa, man. But yeah, so it's like. I like Raheem, but Raheem's also been one of those guys that I feel like has been a better coordinator than a head coach in the NFL. So, a lot of question marks. I'm not saying that Atlanta can't win the division. I'm just saying you shouldn't have to lay money to bet on them right now.
See, if I was making the odds, I would set the Falcons at +150, Tampa Bay at +150, and then the Saints at like +225.
I think it should be Atlanta +150, Tampa Bay about +165, and then like you said, New Orleans probably around +225, something like that.
Yeah,
that's then the Panthers at +9 million or whatever.
Thank you, Loki. Thank you. He said Raheem Morris. Appreciate that. We needed
Appreciate that, Loki. Good looking out. Good looking out. I knew it was one of my old Tampa Bay guys down there.
If you're really bullish on the Saints, you think they're headed back to the Super Bowl, you can get yourself a nice, where are they at? 40-1 ticket to win the NFC.
Don't bet that. Leave that one alone. Don't even put your $2 on that one.
And then if you really are bullish on them and you think Derek Carr is the savior, you can get 100-1 on that.
He is not the savior. What are they to make the playoffs?
NFL playoff specials to make the playoffs. Yes, plus 170. Betting them to win the division is the better bet.
Yep.
Yesterday, it's one of those where because 9-8 could win that division. If you go 9-8 and you don't win the division because of tiebreakers like last year, we saw you're not going to the playoffs.
I do not believe this will be the NFC division that gets 2 teams in. It would surprise me mightily.
Mm-hmm. Wow, their season win total is 7.5. Because I feel like they get to 8.
I feel like they get to at least 8. I might alt that one up. I might go over 8.5.
Yeah, so if they get to 8, so it's minus 115 both ways for the Saints.
I like the over.
Me too. I like the over. If I was betting it, I might bet it. I'd lean over. Let me see. Alt totals over 5.5 is minus 140 or minus 425. Over 9.5 is plus 240. See, you're better off them winning the division, I think. Because if they get to 10 wins, they're probably winning that division.
They're winning that division. Absolutely. Bet if you're going to make plus the Saints, yeah.
You can bet plus 325. Or if you want to play it safe, you can go plus 240 here on over 9.5 wins. I think if they get to 10 wins, I don't see how that means they would have handled business in division. You know,
would have had to. I would think they got a pretty tough non-division schedule there. You got to go.
Because that means they probably, if they got to 10 wins, they swept the Panthers, they swept the Falcons, and they probably split with the Bucs. That's right. 5 wins right there. And then we saw, they got the Giants, they've got the Broncos, they've got the Panthers. There's 8 wins. So you need 2 more wins out of, some of those other games, and you get to 10. That probably wins you the division.
I totally feel like that. 10-7 will, I think, probably run away with this division. You probably win the damn thing by 2 games. You get 10 wins.
I mean, we've seen that for the last how many years now that you get to 10 wins, you're winning that division. That division, that division, 7 wins won it in Tom's last year.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding, man. So yeah, you got to like I said, it's 10 wins, but still the best bet. Don't mess with the over wins and all that stuff. The best bet is going to be, if you want to put a bet on the Saints, bet them to win the division at plus 325 there. That's where you're going to get the best value.
If you like that, so if they do that in division, they split with the Bucs and sweep the other 2. That's 5 wins. They got Carolina. They could win that. I'm going to skip the Dallas, Philly, Kansas City. Well, so even if they lose all those, they got Denver. They could beat the Chargers. I mean, we still don't know what the Chargers are going to be.
That's at LA, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's going to be a tough one, but they could. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Probably not beating Cleveland. You could beat the Rams at home. That's going to be tough, but you could beat New York. You could beat Washington. Green Bay is going to be a tough game. Monday Night Football game, end of the season, though, if you're playing some of your best ball. You could get an upset there. And then you're home against Vegas. Yeah, I mean, I think you.
Like I said,
you bet the division.
Like I said, I think we're still on the same train we were on yesterday. With you just bet a full unit on the Buccaneers and on the Saints, and hope that Atlanta implodes there, because I don't think you got to worry.
Basically, the best way to do it is to fade one team, and we're fading. There's some divisions like this where you just disagree with the market, and you're like, no, that's wrong, and you can't. You got to look through all these bets to find which is the best angle.
Right.
And some of these, it's like you just bet them straight up over their win total. Some of them, it's like, oh, we got to fade this team and go bet the different alt on the the different division odds or different.
Yeah, that's why we do these. Why we do these, man.
Player futures. I don't know anyone on here that we're not even gonna look at coach of the year. Their coach is a bum. I guess the only thing we can look at is MVP. Is he even on here? Derek Carr, 250-1. Bryce Young has better odds to win the MVP. Sam Darnold has better odds to win the MVP than Derek Carr. That is hilarious.
What? Sam Darnold.
Derek Carr's down there with the running backs.
Golly. What about Alvin Kamara, Offensive Player of the Year? What does that look like?
Man, he would have to have some season, but they didn't. They get that big lineman,
Yeah, he Kamara just got to stay healthy, really. I mean, he had the off the field issue where he got in the bar fight and was it Vegas or whatever it was, and had to sit out the first few games of last year and all that. So he's gonna have a full season to go, but he has had.
He's all the way at the bottom. He's just the only person he's ahead of is Rashee Rice.
What are those? I can't
80-1.
That might be worth $1 or $2, just in case.
I don't know, man.
If any player future like that, that's the only one I would invest $1. I would much rather invest $2 on Alvin Kamara to win Offensive Player of the Year than Derek Carr to win MVP at 250-1 or whatever.
You're probably best bet is some of these ones. Kamara, regular receiving yards, 450.5.
Oh, I like over on that.
Over under 65.5 receptions. 4.5 rushing TDs.
Kamara,
650 rushing yards.
Man,
I kind of want to go under on Chase Young's sacks. Although that division, he could sneak in and get some sacks.
And he's liable to put up 3 or 4 in a damn game.
Yeah, it depends. This could be a breakout year for him, like
new place,
revenge year.
Yeah, I got traded mid-season last year and fell into a defense that was already pretty much had its, key pieces, already knew what they were trying to do there. So this could be a fresh start for him.
I feel like everyone and their mother is going to be betting Olave over 5.5 TDs. Look at that. If you think Olave can get 1,000 yards, remember 1,000 yards is not too terribly tough to do nowadays. You can get plus 110.
He's also another guy that's damn dealt with concussion bugs and different things and stuff too. So you just don't know if he's going to play the whole season.
Derek Carr over 10.5 interceptions, over 21.5 passing TDs. Ripper says Derek Carr is on his second year. Expect him to be better this year than last year. I would expect that too. Especially now that we saw how they ended the season, I would expect it to be.
You would think so. I mean, like I said, I think the Saints are a team that kind of, I might be a closet Saints fan when it's all said and done myself, depending on how much money they make me. But I think we're going to.
I think the best bet out of these is Carr. I mean, granted, you got to hope he stays healthy, but that's the same with all these. Over that 3,300 passing yards, 3,300 passing yards is nothing nowadays in the NFL.
So
if he plays a full season, he's getting over 3,300.
I mean, hell, you ain't got to throw, but for about 250 yards a game, 200 yards a game gets you there.
Kool-Aid McKinstry over under 1.5 interceptions.
Ooh,
that's a tough one.
That'd be a sweat, bro. He's going to pick one off in like week 3. And then if he gets another, it'll be like week 17 or something. He gets you over.
God, how do you feel, man? If he
gets 2 picks in week 1.
In week 1 against the Panthers?
Yes. Oh,
and you cash it. You cash it week 1, your season-long bet.
Oh, I like that. What are the odds on that?
Minus 130 to the over. Even
you get him 3+ anywhere?
I don't know. These are the only odds they list.
If you find him 3+ interceptions, I might do that.
How great would it be if one of them too, the one that wins it for you, is like someone tipped it to him?
Yes.
Like Tyrann Honey Badger's in there, swats the ball and tips it over to him.
He's just standing there, just nothing, just falls in his arms. Let's go.
That is awesome. That's exactly how it would work out too. Okay, there you have it. There's our New Orleans Saints 2024 preview. I think our best bets out of this would just be if you're bullish on the Saints, you want to fade the Falcons, and it'd be worth having some money on them to win the division more so than all the other bets. That's at least my favorite bet. If I was to be a force bet one of these, I'd take them at that plus 325 to win the division, because it could likely come down to this last week of the season. And if you have a plus 325 ticket in your hand, you're even down in Tampa Bay. This line is going to be under 3 in that game. So you probably lay about minus 150 or something with the Bucks. You could find yourself in a nice little spot to hedge out and guarantee a profit. So,
yep. I think I agree, sir.
there you have it. Let us know what you think about the Saints. How are they going to do this season? Are you excited for them? If you're a Saints fan, are you bullish on them after how they finished last season? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you guys on the next video.